So this is the year I turn 29, and I am terrified. It, as in, the thought of that scares the shit out of me, because I feel like I have let myself down in some way. I feel like I have not achieved everything I hoped to have achieved by this time of my life. And I know that people may say that don't put a deadline on yourself or anything, or all those kinds of things, but it gets to a point in life where you don't need some sort of motivation, or you don't need to be told that you're doing your best. You don't need to be told that it's okay. You don't need to be told that kind of stuff. You just need to be told that maybe it's your fault, you know. I had made plans for myself. I had envisioned something different, something better, something greater for myself by this time of my life. But as life would have it, I don't want to say the word fate because I hate that word. I do not subscribe to that whole idea that our lives have been written on stone, that is how it's going to end up no matter what. I do not subscribe to that. But as life would have it, things don't always end up the way you want. Things don't always happen exactly how you want them to. Well, I totally believe that things can take a turn. I totally believe that things can happen within a short period of time. Things that probably took forever to happen can happen within a very short period of time. I know that. But then again, I can't help but ask myself whether some decisions, whether if I made different decisions at certain points in my life, whether the results would be different. I can't help but ask myself whether, if maybe I would have done some things differently, things would be different right now. I don't know if that makes sense. And it gets to a point where you have to keep it real with yourself. It gets to a point where you have to take full responsibility of the role. You have to admit the role you played into things not happening the way you hoped they would, or the role you played for things to happen the way they did. I don't know if that makes sense. In my head, it makes complete sense. So I have been in a rut for a few months, I guess. Like, the constant voices in my head telling me that, like, the constant voices in my head bringing me down and, you know, making me feel like shit. You know, I've been struggling with that for a while now. The constant self-judgment or self-doubt and, you know, being too hard on myself, it's something I've really been struggling with. It is not something that I'm trying to find the right words. It is something that has been happening where there are just some voices in my head repeatedly trying to bring me down, repeatedly trying to tell me I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not where I'm supposed to be. You know, it's so constant that sometimes I just want to sleep, because even when I'm sleeping, by the way, even when I'm sleeping, sometimes I hear the voices in my head over and over again. So sometimes I need to distract myself, because that is the only way I can silence the voices in my head, because they are becoming way too loud. So recently I've been asking myself whether, I saw this trend on TikTok where people are speaking about meeting their younger selves and all. So I asked myself, what would younger Val think of me right now? Honestly, there are some aspects of my life that younger me would actually be proud of, but then again, there are also aspects of my life that younger me would be like, so that is the best you could do. I know, like, I feel like younger me is somewhere within, like, telling me that you could have done better, as in certain aspects of my life. You know, you could have made better decisions, you know, such things. And it feels like I've let her down to a certain extent, but I am not in a point of despair. I am not in a point of, you know, that is it, like I'm done for, or anything like that. It's just a feeling of unfulfillment. Let me just say that it's a feeling of being unfulfilled and feeling as though I am not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, feeling as though I'm sleeping on myself, I'm sleeping on my potential, I am not doing what I'm supposed to do. I guess probably it's because of I quit my job more than a year ago, and this is the longest I've been without a job, and it's, to a certain extent, it's a choice because I wanted to figure myself out. I wanted to, see what I really want, what I want to actually do and all. And also the job was not making me happy anymore, so I just decided to choose myself. But also there's that feeling of being dependent on someone else for everything. That being dependent fully on someone else for everything can make you feel less of yourself. It can make you feel as though you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I appreciate that my partner has been quite helpful, and he has not made me feel like a burden or anything like that, but just deep within myself I feel like I'm not supposed to be just not doing, I'm not supposed to just not be doing anything, because I've never been fully dependent on anyone in my life. Like, I've never been, it is a new experience for me. I think that is why it is really kicking my ass, because it's been a new experience. Also, I went back to school, and I've been enjoying what I'm doing in school. I've been enjoying being back in school, but then there's just a certain voice in my head telling me that you're probably not going to finish this because you never finish things. That constant voice in my head, you're like trying to bring me down, trying to pull me down, it is not a cute feeling. It's not a cute feeling, because you feel like you're constantly at war with yourself. You feel like you're in battle, and you're battling yourself. You're battling your own head. You're battling your own mind. You're trying to silence it. But it constantly, Also, I tried to dip my foot. I dipped my foot into business, something that I have never done before. I have never done business in my whole life. So I'm navigating a completely new experience, a completely new thing that I have never, ever done before. Wait, let me adjust this camera. Yeah, that's better. So I dipped my foot into something new, something that I've never done before, and it has been kicking my ass. It has been really kicking my ass, because I tend to take some things quite personally. Probably my interactions with some customers, they get to me so much, they get to me too much, and that constant voice in my head trying to force me to quit, or trying to tell me to quit, that it's not meant for me. So it has been a constant battle between me and my head about literally everything. Like, it's always like everything I try to do, there's just that constant voice in my head telling me that I do not measure up to that, or I'm not good enough, or I'm going to quit. It has been a struggle. It has really been a struggle. So I am going to admit that I am sort of scared of getting to 30. I'm scared of aging. I'm scared of getting to 30 without actually achieving some things that I had written down for myself. I am going to admit that I'm actually scared of getting to 30 without getting some things that I wanted for myself, without achieving some things that I wanted for myself, because there are things that there are goals that you set for yourself personally. You don't have to voice them out to anyone. You don't have to tell anyone about them. So some of those things, they're just haunting me, and I'm just like, I do not want time to go. I do not want to get to my 30s without getting the things that I wanted to get before I got there, because I feel like I'll be letting down my inner child. I feel like I'm disappointing my inner child, and my inner child has always rooted for me, but still I don't want to feel like I'm letting her down, because I took it upon myself to say that I'm going to make sure that I make her proud. I'm going to make sure that I heal the wounds that she may have. I'm going to make sure that I give her everything that she has wanted but has not been able to get. So I feel like letting her down would be something that I wouldn't be able to forgive myself for. I don't know if that makes sense, but that has been the struggle. And up to this point, I do not think I regret anything, because I feel like I've learned a lot through my experiences and through everything else. I think I've learned, and there are some lessons that I wouldn't have learned if I wouldn't have made the choices that I made. So I don't particularly regret some things, but I feel like maybe I should push myself harder. Maybe I should try harder, or I don't know. But then again, there's always that concept of pushing yourself harder does not guarantee success. It does not. And that is the saddest thing, because we all know that there are people who work and work and work and work. They do everything, but it never works out for them. And there are people who don't put any effort at all, but things just happen. So life in itself does not have a manual. Life in itself does not have a formula. I hear people saying that you have to ask for God's favor and God's grace, because that is the only thing that will push you into getting the things that you want. But I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel like God says we are all his children. God says that we are all created in his image and likeness. So I don't see a reason why some people should struggle more than others to get the exact same thing, you know? So it has just been a struggle between me and my head. It's been a war between me and my head. Anyway, this was just a rant, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.